Representative Mac Thornberry, Chairman of the House Armed Services Committee, with me in studio, and nice to see you. So there's a ton to talk about here. New York Times today, editorial, America needs frank talk on ISIS. You are quoted as saying, my view is that the president jumps through hoops because of his views of this politically. Yeah. What does that mean?
Well, we put artificial troop caps, for example, on how many people we Americans can have in Iraq at any one time, and yet we rotate other troops through for 30-day increments just to stay below the troop cap. So there is this political constraints the president gets himself into that makes it harder for our military to accomplish the missions he sends them.
You argue they have not been transparent with the public.
No, and
why not?
The president says we have a troop cap of 4,000-something people, but then they rotate these people through in short-term increments, so he's not telling the American people the whole story of what we're doing or what is required to really defeat ISIS. And the same thing in Afghanistan and elsewhere. Politically, because it's inconvenient. This president ran to get out of Iraq. He wanted to be out of Afghanistan, and that's not possible. But rather than show leadership and explain to the American people this threat to ISIS, what we need to do and how it threatens us, he wants to keep these artificial troop caps and just slowly ratchet up the pressure, which is going in the right direction, but he's not leading, and that's part of the problem.
How significant is it when the country says to Americans in Turkey, get out, we cannot ensure your safety?
Well, I think it tells us that we may take a village or two away from ISIS in Iraq and Syria, but their network has spread far beyond that. It's much deeper in Europe than we thought. They're in Libya, they're in Afghanistan, and they present a threat to Turkey, a NATO ally. So rather than get fixated on just how much territory ISIS controls, which is important, but it's not the whole story. They're much bigger than that.
As you know, Turkey is under pressure with ISIS fighters and also Kurdish militants as well in Eastern Europe. What is the suggestion that the U.S. government, the Pentagon now, wants to put more forces on the eastern border? What's happening there?
Well, the president has realized that we have cut too much in our military, so he has proposed basically tripling the amount of money we spend with exercises and troop movements in Eastern Europe as a deterrent primarily to Putin and Russian aggression. The problem is the president has not asked for more money to pay for it. So the only place the military can come up with the funds to do what he's proposing and increase this presence in Eastern Europe is to cut people, to cut training, to cut maintenance, and that's exactly what's happening. So you're really robbing Peter to pay Paul. It may be the right thing to have a greater presence in Europe, and a greater presence in Iraq and Syria and Afghanistan, etc., but you got to pay for it.
Is the suggestion, however, that Putin's up to something that we have not put on our radar today?
Well, Putin has proven he will do the unexpected. He will take advantage of opportunities. I think that is absolutely, so you don't know for sure what he will do next. What you do know is that we cut too much out of Europe, and we are paying the price for that.
But the president's making a move to correct that. I mean, that's what I see in this article, and that's what I hear you saying. With regard to Europe, yes.
But he has not increased the amount of money. I mean, that comes at a cost, a financial cost. And the president has not asked for the money to pay for these extra activities. So he leaves the military in the position of continuing to defer maintenance, of cutting troops. This is the fourth year in a row the president has asked for, not for the full pay raise that our troops are entitled to. In other words, they're not getting all of the benefits the law says they should because he keeps squeezing down on the money. It may be the right thing to do, but you got to pay for it.
Yeah, we have seen brutal attack after brutal attack over the past 10 days, whether it's Brussels or these Christians that were killed and targeted in Pakistan on Easter Sunday. What is the conversation within the walls of Washington and Congress as to how significant this threat is growing and what the American people need to understand?
Yeah, I think the number one point is that it's already bigger than we thought. And as they keep peeling back the layers in Europe, the network ISIS has already established is far deeper, far broader than anybody realized, with financiers, with document forgers, you know, the whole gamut of the network. Secondly, it has spread beyond Europe. ISIS is gaining a foothold everywhere from Libya through Afghanistan and everywhere in between. So it is broader as well as deeper than
But it's
we
going to
realize.
become broader and deeper, right?
And it will
because
get
there
worse.
is no comprehensive strategy. Agreed or not?
That's exactly right. We required in law the president present a comprehensive strategy. Finally, a month late, he sent up a 7-page piece of paper document last week, and it's not a comprehensive strategy. Certainly not to deal with the depth and breadth that ISIS is. And so the threat to us here at home, as well as the threat to Europe, is only going to grow.
Mac Thornberry, thank you for giving us part of your day today. Appreciate your time. Thank you.